going on, guys? Taxation is theft. So everyone's talking about Trump, and they want to send him to prison for telling people to go march over to the Capitol. The media, man, I don't even know where to begin with this. The media is really skewed. Social media, mainstream media, everything else. And, I mean, that's normal, but there's a few things I want to point out. So, Trump didn't tell anyone to go break windows. Trump didn't tell anybody, all these other things. He said go march over to Congress. Now, whether he's right or wrong on whether or not the election was rigged is a totally different story. He could innocently believe that the election was rigged, at least rigged enough for him to lose, because, let's be honest, there's election fraud every year. Is it enough to swing an election like that? Maybe, maybe not. But if he believes that the election was stolen, and he wants people to go over to the Capitol and complain about it, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, they get to the Capitol, and people say, oh, they were an angry mob, and they stormed in, they broke their way in, and then the police let them, and, all this other stuff. They had assistance from the police were letting them in. That is a public building, and while you might be worried about the safety of your favorite congressman, it's a public building. Anybody's allowed in there at any time. When they have their sessions on the floor, where they vote on bills, that's a public meeting. Anybody should be able to walk into that just as easily as they can walk into city council. So, and we saw this video footage where when they were going in, they were staying within the velvet ropes and, all this other stuff. So, but of course the media is saying, and people like Maxine Waters, oh man, I saw her on an interview today, talking about, if only the policemen had helmets, she said. Oh my God. Here's the thing, the security is not there to keep people out. I think I've been to the Capitol in Austin, Texas, the capital of Texas, and all they do is they just check your bags for bombs and guns. They don't ask for your ID. They don't say only certain people can come in or anything like that. It's a public place. It's a public place. It's not like a police department where everything's locked up and like if you want to talk to somebody, you got to make an appointment. No. It is a public place. It's like going to the park. It's like going to the mall with just a little bit more security. And this is super important. Now, they're calling for Trump to be charged criminally. Now, there were people who went in and they did crimes, and they're petty crimes. Breaking windows, which they probably have paid for those windows 1,000 times over through their taxes. Stealing not a podium, a lectern. Petty crimes. And I heard people calling for the arrest of the people who were sitting in Congress's chairs. I think it was Nancy Pelosi. Oh, that man who sat in my chair is a felon and he should go to prison. I've never felt so threatened in my life. This is the kind of shit we're hearing right now. Now, I don't agree with these guys. Really. I mean, they're pissed off that the election was rigged. Okay, I can agree with them on that. We have a constitutional process for it. Let's make sure that happens. They support Trump. I don't agree with them on that. But, whatever. That's irrelevant. Most of the people there did not commit any crimes. members of Congress were scared. And I want to say that's a good thing. And I don't want to come off as like, yeah, we should be committing crimes against them. They should be afraid, blah, blah, blah. Not really. What I mean by that is, if they fear no consequences, what are they going to do? What are they going to do to us? Huh? Think about that. I mean, we drive a safe speed because we want to be safe, but we drive under the speed limit because of the fear of the consequences. Especially if there's a known speed trap, or we know if we see a police car. We drive even slower than what we believe is safe because we're afraid of the consequences. Now, for Congress, for so long, there have been absolutely no consequences. People don't storm the Capitol like they did. And there are plenty of reasons they should. Of course, when they're re-upping on the Patriot Act, or when they're passing a bill that's going to rob us blind, those are the times when we should be marching on the Capitol. Those are the times where we should be in the hall saying, you better not pass that bill. Anybody who passes that bill is going to be dragged out and tarred and feathered. Not that I'm advocating for violence, but metaphorically speaking. Those are the times we should be there. But none of you cared enough to go there any of these times in the past. Nobody. It's been so quiet and peaceful over there. They've been able to pass their tyrannical laws in peace and quiet for decades, centuries. Without any fear of consequences. And now they're trying to say that the people who want to exercise that right are terrorists. I keep hearing about Proud Boys, I keep hearing about Antifa, I keep hearing about, whoever else. They don't make up a majority of the people who were there. If they did, there would have been a lot more damage and a lot more people would have died. A lot of the people who were there are just people who are fed up with this government. And we have absolutely no recourse. What are you going to dial 911? Oh, Congress is acting out of the Constitution again. Nope. What are you going to do? Sue them with their own courts? Nope. They've gotten away with it. And a lot of people feel that there's only one way left to fight this. And they've waited too long. This is, I'm trying to think who said it before, that by the time everyone starts caring, it's going to be too late. And to a certain extent, it's too late. Not just because of the laws that have been passed, but because of the divisiveness of the government. They've taught us to hate each other. They have divided us right down the middle and taught us to hate each other. So that we can't even come together and say, hey guys, what the government is doing is wrong. We need to set our differences aside and stop them. And I guarantee you, Biden's going to get in there, and the government's going to get bigger. There are going to be more laws. There are going to be more crimes. There are going to be more people in jail. There are going to be more taxes. Our quality of life might increase a little bit, as it has because of technology. But the government is going to grow, and it's going to hold every single one of us back from living our lives to the fullest. I want to go back to the point I opened up on about Trump, because somebody told me that, well, Trump told people to do this, and so therefore he should be charged as a crime. And they even said, yeah, it's like the chain of command. He told them to do it. Well, one, he didn't tell people to do anything illegal. And I hate it when I have to defend Trump. But as I've said a million times, I may not agree with what people say, but I will defend to the death their right to say it. By the way, Ron Paul got banned off of Facebook today. Not completely, but I guess he can't post or anything right now. There is no chain of command between the president and the citizens. I'm going to repeat that. There's no chain of command between the president and the citizens. He does not give orders. You do not follow them. That's not how it works. And this is what I've been saying with these executive orders. They can write executive orders, but only the people in their chain of command have to follow those orders, as long as they're lawful orders, or legal orders, in this case. I don't have to follow them. You don't have to follow them. We don't work for the government. We don't work for the governor. We don't work for the president. Now, if the president tells an employee of the IRS to do something, if he tells a Marine to do something, if he tells someone at the FBI to do something, those are in his chain of command. If he tells a congressman to do something, that is not in his chain of command. If he tells a judge to do something, that is not in his chain of command. If he tells you or me to do something, that is not in his chain of command. So there's a difference. So who is responsible for the actions that were done, and were they criminal? Because think about this. I could tell you, hey, I need you to go to the bank and pick up some money for me. And then you go to the bank, and you decide to rob it. And then you come back and say, well, I brought you your money. I just said go to the bank and pick up some money. Maybe we had a relationship where you worked for me and you had access to the bank account and you were just supposed to make a withdrawal. I didn't tell you to rob the bank. You robbed the bank. You're responsible. I am not. If I tell you to rob the bank, then yeah, I'm going to be responsible for that. But I'm not going to be solely responsible for that. So this goes to the Nuremberg trials. Sorry if my phone keeps buzzing. Let me see if I can turn this thing off. The Nuremberg trials happened after the Nazis fell, World War II. It was kind of a world court that they put together to punish people for war crimes that happened. And it was decided that just because, or not decided, it was, I guess, discovered, or I don't even know what word you would use. It was determined that following orders is not an excuse for committing a crime. And this is what this guy was getting at that he was telling me. He was telling me Trump gave the orders, but these weren't orders, and there was no obligation to follow them. Now, I want to talk about this too. Maxine Waters, the same person who was talking shit about these people storming this place, was several months ago saying things like, oh, if you see one of these people, punch him. Trump didn't say to punch anybody. He might have during his original campaign, or there was something like that. Or he said throw someone, I don't remember. But Maxine Waters is now condemning what Trump said. Go march on the Capitol. And don't get me wrong, maybe he said a little bit more than that. I didn't watch the whole speech. I'm really not that into him. But I would think that if he did say something worse than that, that would have, the cream rises to the top. That would have been what everyone was saying. But Maxine Waters was literally telling people to go start fights. And it wasn't just her. Everybody else. When George Floyd died, people should be taking to the streets. They should be angry. We shouldn't stand for this. Well, some people don't like unarmed black men getting killed by police, or just unarmed people in general. And other people don't like when people rig elections. Both of those are crimes. Is one worse than the other? Arguably. But they're still crimes. And so do we let one crime go because it's not as bad as the other? I mean, is that how the government does it? Oh, it's okay, you were just speeding, but that's okay, I'm going to let it slide because I've got a murderer to catch. Is that what they do? No. No. What a wonderful world that would be. Or, well, you stabbed that guy, but he didn't die, so we're not going to charge you because there's another case we're working on where somebody actually died, and so we've got a murder case. And that's worse than yours, so we're going to prosecute one and not the other. No, not how it works. So if crimes are committed, regardless, still all by the government, right? It was a government agent who killed George Floyd and all these other people. It was government agents. Well, I don't know if you'd call them government agents. I'm sure there were some involved in rigging the election. Or was it just people, who really wanted Biden to win that threw in some extra votes? Yes, I'm saying for a fact the election was rigged. I don't know if it was enough votes to cause that much of a change. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but every election is rigged, always. So what do we do when there's no mechanism for recourse against the government? There's no way for us to charge them. There's no, sign a petition and they'll all just go away. Nope. What do we do? There's no answer, so people get frustrated, they get angry, and they get violent. It's understandable. It's exactly what happened with George Floyd. People were upset. The government wasn't prosecuting itself, and they had no idea what else to do. So they got violent. There's a real simple solution to all this. Actually, if you want to make the violence go away, give people an option to get rid of the people that are causing problems. Give people an option to get rid of the police. Or at least the police who are killing people. Give people an option to easily get rid of Congress or easily veto a bill that they don't want. Think about this. Really think about this. Really, really, really think about this. If a bill was passed and 90% of the entire country was standing outside of the Capitol saying, we disapprove of that. Would it still become law? Yes, it would. What's going to stop it? Are one of these congressmen going to say, oh, well, those people don't approve, we shouldn't vote for this? No, that's not what they do. They know we don't approve. They vote for it anyway. So what's our mechanism for making it stop? If you really want to stop the violence, we need to come up with a mechanism for that. Alright guys, I've ranted enough. I will catch you guys later. Taxation is theft.